What is going on, guys? This is Daniel here, and in this video, I'm going to be setting up GLM 5.2 with OpenCode. The reason that I'm doing this is because this model is honestly very, very impressive. If you have a look here, it is benchmarking higher than GPT 5.5 on many of the benchmarks, and Opus 4.8 is barely leading it. And these are the best models we have, the closed source models from the biggest companies. And here is a Chinese lab that's released an open weight model that, in theory, if you had a strong enough or powerful enough computer, you could run this yourself and you wouldn't have to pay any token cost, and you would have all your data completely private to yourself. Now, it is still a pretty big model, so pretty unlikely that you'll be able to have a computer powerful enough to run it. But if you do use a provider, it's actually 5 times cheaper than Opus 4.8. So that's already another reason to give it a go. So I've done 2 things with this model so far. One of them was I used it on one of my development projects, and it works really well. It's very easy to talk to. And the second thing is I made a little bit of a benchmark between it, Opus 4.8, as well as GPT 5.5, because I wanted to see, like, is it really as good as they say they are? But I'll show you what the test was, and for me, it felt like a pretty good one. So what I asked this model to do, or all 3 models, is I wanted them to build a interactive web page that tries to teach someone about machine learning. The reason I thought this is a good test is because, firstly, it needs to have a really good design, it needs to be clear, but it also forces the model to try to put itself in the shoes of a beginner and teach them something. So this was the prompt I used. I said, build an interactive web page that teaches a complete beginner how machine learning works. It needs to be a single file of HTML, and I just left it up to the model. Be creative, do whatever you want, and surprise me with the results. So let's get into the result. So the first one to finish was Opus 4.8, and that is this one here. So pretty cool design, very nice. And if we look at the first part, so the first impression that I have over here is, okay, so it's trying to tell me that you don't program machine learning, you show it. This example right now, it's kind of a little bit confusing. It says click to place dots, so you can chuck some dots in here. The page went a bit blank over there, or like had some shading on it, but you can place some dots, you can click, and it shows you that, the algorithm, it finds a dividing line between 2 different data points. It's quite interactive. It's quite fun, honestly. It did a pretty good job with the visualization. It's showing classification over here. I think there is a little bit too much jargon, a tiny bit too much jargon for a beginner. It doesn't really explain how it's working so much, but that's okay. It's still quite nice. And then, look, it's trying here to show how the error changes, but this was pretty confusing, honestly. If I was a beginner, that wouldn't really make a ton of sense to me, I think. But cool visuals, it all works pretty well. It's used kind of simple text, but it is a little bit challenging. But anyway, overall, I think it looks very beautiful. And I think if you spent enough time on this page as a beginner, you would probably start to learn and kind of get a grasp of what machine learning is. So I think overall, pretty good. Well, good job, Opus. Okay, so this is GPT 5.5. Machine learning finally clicks. No equations required. You will drag fruit around. Okay, so let's go for it. Teach a computer by showing examples. This is my blunt impression is that this is not really teaching me what machine learning is. It's like he thought that just adding fruit makes it simple or something. What? This is very confusing for me, honestly. I feel like I'm playing a little game, but I'm not learning anything. This is terrible for a beginner to learn, I think. I think he's just trying to show off. But in terms of putting yourself in the shoes of a beginner, This is really confusing. Yeah, I think this one is definitely worse. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this. Like, it looks sort of pretty, but even the animations are not nearly as good as Opus's ones. So I would give this a pretty low mark. So this is GLM. Straight off the bat, it's not as pretty because like we have this kind of header area, but then like the chapter section, you can also see it. So visually it doesn't look as nice. I mean, like, this is cool. It's got this like animation here that's moving, but you know, the actual formatting of it wasn't as good as the last two. I actually really like this because what he's doing is he's trying to explain that, you know, if you try to describe you know, what a cat is, then it's very, very hard to do you know, by just creating rules about what a cat is. So yeah. Okay, so yeah, so this is actually, I would say this is probably the most creative way to try to get the message across about why you need machine learning. Because if you add rules and you have all these different rules, it's going to apply to a bunch of different animals. So that is very creative. I would say that is probably the most creative first approach to this problem. There's a little bug here with the actual software, but it's definitely a lot better than GPT-5.5, that's for sure. I think so. Clear points, new data. Okay, yeah. There's a few bugs, but it does look quite nice. I think in terms of the explanation or trying to educate someone, this one feels the best for me. I think the code on this one is a little bit more clunky, but the explanations definitely feel the best for me. So let's try this one. We'll do a neural network. That is cool. That is really cool. It's actually, it's showing the neural network itself and how it's updating. That is very cool. Okay, so that's showing overfitting right there. So if the model's too complex, then the test set gets completely out of whack. So I think this is actually quite good. Yeah, and he didn't go through too many things. He didn't try too much crazy stuff. So overall, this is a really good result, I think. So in terms of token usage to build these things, 4.8 was 88,000 tokens, 5.5 was around 70,000, and GLM 5.2, which used the most, was 94, almost 95,000 tokens. So GLM used the most, but at the same time, his tokens are a fifth of the price. So not bad at all. So to get started with GLM 5.2, download OpenCode at opencode.ai. You can use this curl command in the terminal, or you can also download it if you want the UI version, the desktop app. So you want to just copy that, chuck it in your terminal, and I can just do it here. I think I've already got it installed, but that's how you would do it. And then after that, the next thing we need to do is go to Open Router. And what we can do is, if you don't have an account, make an account. You got to put some cash in there. So I put in $20, which is enough to get going for sure. You can put in $10 if you want to try it out. And then you want to get an API key. So we're going to click on there. And after that, I've got an API key over here, but you can click on New Key just up here. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it test key. And then after that, expiration, no expiration. You can also put a credit limit as well if you want. So I'll just put in $10 over here. We can hit create. And then we got the key over here. So you just want to copy that, click on this little thing over here. And then after that, we want to put it into OpenCode. So I'm just in my terminal now, and I'm going to open OpenCode by typing OpenCode into my terminal, and it's going to boot up. Now I've already got it installed, but if you need to install it, what you would do is just hit /connect. And after that, we want to search. So we're going to search for Open Router over here, hit enter. And then you just want to paste in the API key that we pasted in before that we just got. Hit enter, and then after that it is good to go. So the next thing to do, if you're not on it, is you would press Control X, Control X and then M. And then after that, you would look at, you would have, if you don't have OpenCode Zen, that's fine, but you would have Open Router down here. Now to search for it, you could just do GLM-5.2. And then it will pop up and then just hit enter. Okay, so it's all running. I hope this was useful for you. If you have any questions or you need any help with AI, then there's going to be a link in the description where you can book a call with me and we can have a chat. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.